The Flip Side with Jay and Noel. You should be able to speak more into this since you actually experience it all the time.
I was about to say, no, I don't. I always just avoid passing where everybody else passes, or I try to avoid being on the road when everybody else is on the road, like Chris and the rest of Coldplay being on the road all at the same time.
Right, right.
But wait, first of all, this is number one, like in the whole
In the
world.
world. In the world.
Wow.
So they're saying that they're getting the data from TomTom basically. And it says all based on TomTom traffic index. So I don't know
Wow.
how they pull these numbers out, but
Like
Manila being 2023's worst city traffic in the world.
we beat India and Bangladesh and all these other countries.
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised about that, to be honest with you, because you would think, right? But I pulled up a couple of information just to have it match up with and whatnot. Did you know that last year, um, in the Philippines, in Manila specifically, okay,
Mm.
on on average for the whole year, an average person stuck in traffic for 246 hours for the
Wow.
whole year. Yeah. That's equivalent to a little bit over 10 days in traffic. So you're losing 10 days out of your life in a year just sitting and waiting in traffic. Can you imagine that?
Yeah,
And I was like,
exactly. All the
now what could be causing all of that traffic? I mean, is it just the sheer number and volumes is the number one answer that I found online. Okay. I didn't know this. Okay. In Manila, there is a total in Metro Manila alone, there's over 14 million people. Did you know that?
mm, no.
On any given day, there are 3 million vehicles on the road in the streets of Manila. 3
Wow.
million. That's, I was like thinking to myself, holy shit. No wonder there's so much traffic in the Philippines and the infrastructure alone is just ridiculous.
Here's my 2 centavos on that.
Oh,
Cars, vehicles in general are just getting too much too cheap. And the number two, I think driver's license are just being given out like flyers left and right. Almost.
too cheap.
Puso mo, puso mo. Yung mga magko-comment diyan na naman na ano relax.
Chill lang kayo mga pare. Chill lang. No, but
Chill.
I don't understand that. So why would they just hand out? Isn't there like a pretty strict Department of Motor Vehicle test to obtain
Eh,
driver's license?
not really. Yeah, there is like thing, but not their like the practical exam. In my opinion, the way I
Yeah.
see it, but it takes too much time, so they just kind of like, you look like you know how to drive. It's okay. Next.
Jesus.
It's not like that's like how long is the driver's test? Like an hour,
Mm,
15 minutes, 30
right.
minutes.
Right.
That's like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. That's wasted time that we could be like processing other. Because the more we process, and I'm not like necessarily blaming LTO or the transportation authorities or what for doing this. Because on
Hmm.
the flip side of this, if they don't do it this way, the people will also say, "Oh, it's so anti-poor. You're not allowing people to be like
Right.
driving."
Right.
You can never like please everybody. But just the way I see it, and relax. This is just my opinion. Um, Gosh, I have to say that every time we have to say something. We're going to say something controversial or something. Uh, Whatever. I don't even know the word for it. Something opinionated. Is that yeah? So the exams are not difficult enough, and people. What was I trying to say?
The
Yeah, but
test. Taking the test.
the test, the driver's license is just too easy to get,
Mm, mm.
and it's just too easy to get cars.
Right. Right.
Like it's not like in scuba diving where you can't buy a scuba tank or scuba gear without without a diving license.
Right.
Technically, you can't. Or you shouldn't be sold the stuff. So same thing. I think with a car, like people get sold cars or even motorcycles without driver's license. As
Hmm,
long as they have
hmm.
the money to pay for it, here's your vehicle. It's like it's not our problem to be checking if you have a
But
driver's license or not.
do you think that gives or partakes in more reasoning to why the traffic in the Philippines is so bad? I mean,
So
it
that
says
means
here,
more drivers. That means more drivers, more vehicles on the road.
right, but not everybody has access to a vehicle, though. That's the thing. But still, 3 million vehicles over or 3 million cars going through EDSA alone on a daily basis. Okay,
And that's with have you are you familiar with number coding?
no.
Like depending on your license plate, the ending of your license plate from 0 to 9, like you're not allowed to be on the road on those particular days. Let's say like
Oh yeah, yeah,
0 and
yeah.
1 would be Monday, you're not allowed. Tuesday, and then so some people they have two cars so that they
Right.
have a backup car. Malas mo na lang
Yeah.
if both of your cars are on the same day.
Well, in comparison here, so they're saying in EDSA alone, okay,
Mm.
on a daily basis, there's about 3 million cars that goes through there on a daily basis. On average, okay, to travel 10 kilometers, which is about 5 miles, it takes on a regular day
Mm.
about, what does that say here? I just lost it. I was just looking at it.
So yeah, while you're looking at it, if you just joined us, but this is about Coldplay mentioning about the traffic in their
Right, right.
concert.
Oh, so on average, it takes about 25 and a half minutes to travel 10 kilometers, which is about
Right.
roughly about half a mile. Okay. That's on any given day. Okay. On
Yeah.
EDSA. Now, on rush hour, it could go as high as um, 30 minutes to 31 minutes to
Yeah.
travel 5 miles. That's insane.
Nakapag-online business ka na habang naghihintay ka sa traffic,
Yun na
no?
nga. And then apparently in the Philippines last year for 2023, the worst day recorded for traffic was December 15, 2023, where
Wow.
traveling 5 miles or 10 kilometers took 32.7 minutes. That was the worst traffic measured last year for Metro Manila. In comparison, I know this is numbers I'm throwing out here, okay? Can you imagine? That's 246 hours a year in in Manila, what was lost in traffic. In New York City, this is the top three worst cities of 2023 in the US last year.
Mm.
New York City, 236 hours. That's roughly about 10 days. Okay.
Mm. Mm.
That's number one. Now, the second worst traffic in the US last year, of course, it's around the corner from me, Washington, D.C., 196 hours, which is roughly 9 days. And
Mm.
then San Francisco is
Mm.
184 hours, which is roughly 8 days.
You know, when we were in San Francisco, we were middle class, poor. We didn't have a car. I
Right.
never had to ride a car when we were in San Francisco. That's the thing. So we actually have and I have to give credit to, the government working on it. So they're working on the public transportation, the buses, the jeepneys. They're trying to phase that out or like improve it.
Right.
And the trains also. So, infrastructure wise, we're about 10, 15, 20 years behind. But in fairness, they're trying to like ramp it up now and catch up with it. But
How
to,
are they
to answer
doing that?
infrastructure, like build
Public transportation?
public transportation, the bridges, and they're trying to figure out what to do with like the EDSA bus lane kind of thing
Right.
and implement the particular rules and regulations because there already are. And then like there's this thing that they're doing like road widening. They're trying to clear out just because there are a lot of choices for roads, for example, to get around EDSA and not have to
Right.
pass EDSA. But people don't pass these esquinitas because let's say there's another car or another palenque blocking the road.
Mm,
So they're trying
mhm.
to clear out a lot of the roads. So in
I
fairness to
don't
them, they're doing it. I don't know if they're doing a good job. They should have done
see.
it a few years ago, yada yada yada, but that's where we are.
Well, I think one of the problems that's causing okay, we're obviously the number sheer volume of cars in Manila is insane, especially the number of cars that goes through EDSA and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
But let's be honest, majority of that has to be public transportation.
It's not.
You know, it's not. They're all private vehicles. You think? I don't think
I don't
so.
know what the ratio is, but there are a lot. I don't think it's enough. Like just me as a commuter, I don't think there's enough public
Public.
transportation
You think so?
infrastructure
Really?
in place. Yeah,
I don't know
in
because
my
see,
opinion, yeah.
even with LRT running and whatnot. Okay, I was watching this because of that video that you saw me. It led me to like search random day to day lives of Manila public commute. Okay,
Mm,
there's this guy. I was thinking about showing their clips, but it's too personal and whatnot. I didn't want to like add it into just public
mm,
shows and whatnot. But
mm,
this guy would get up at 4:30 every morning.
mm-hmm,
Okay,
mm-hmm,
he needs to be out on the road near the platforms of LRT already to take the train at 5:30 or 6 a.m.
mm-hmm,
Because come 6:30 or 7 a.m. it's literally an ant farm.
mm-hmm.
It's insane, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you have to spend a lot of people are actually getting into the train station by 7 or 8 a.m. because it takes them another hour or two just to get,
Mm-hmm.
because they might not get on the train because of the volume of people as well. Parang siksikan talaga,
That's
you
right.
know. I'm surprised with the amount of people that get on that. There's not a lot of fatalities just because it looks like you could barely breathe in there,
Mm-mm.
you
Yeah,
know.
no, it's pretty. I think it's reasonable. It's reasonable. It's pretty safe. But yeah, it could be better. Like
Mm,
the kugon, I think is what they call it. The train itself, the size of
mm,
the train. It's not. It's there's like three. There's three different trains that there's one, two, and three, and all three of them.
right,
Uh, I don't think they cross each other. They don't. I mean, they cross each other, but they don't get on the same railroad. They don't get on the same tracks.
right.
So they all have different kinds of volume that they can actually carry.
Mm,
So
mm.
you've ridden the one on Taft Avenue, that's LRT one. That's the brown one.
Okay.
You've ridden that? I'm asking.
Oh, no, 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 no. I've never ridden it.
Oh, yun. So they have that one. That's brown, and then they have like another line that's on EDSA, which for some strange reason, the way I see it, it's a little smaller. But the bigger one is like line three, the purple one. That carries a little. So yun, iba-iba yung sizes nung trains. Um,
Mm, mm.
but wait, am I trying to answer a question here?
No, 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 no.
But
You were just commenting on it and whatnot. But I was
but
like,
yeah, I don't think it's enough. Like and plus all these the basta, it's not enough. There is a way to commute, but it's not enough.
right, right. You, and there's so many of these. What do you call that? Like angkas.
Yeah, that's why that's booming so much because these motorcycle taxis, they call it motorcycle taxis here, right?
Right,
Yun, it's booming because for some people, even if they have a car, I was going to joke that there's two kinds of people in Manila: the ones that commute and the one that drives their own private vehicles. But
right.
um, even the ones that have vehicles, they just rather ride the MCs or these motorcycle taxis because yun nga, it's hassle pa to park. You're stuck in traffic
Right.
and you have nothing else to worry about if you're on that motorcycle taxi.
But now looking at the traffic pattern and just the way it's out of control. I mean, the motorcycles and the scooters inching in every possible space that they can, right? I understand it helps you drive quicker and get to from A to B quicker, but
Yeah.
it's causing more problems, you know? When there's so many of little vehicles inching in at every space, it's causing the bigger vehicles to not move because they have to be cautious and worried about hitting somebody. And then
Mm, I don't know. I'm not going to argue with you about having more motorcycles or not on the road.
right.
Because some
I,
people they would argue that motorcycles are actually helping decongest the traffic because some people are not riding cars.
I don't. I mean, I agree with you. I actually agree with you. I just think that it needs to be structured properly and it needs to be enforced properly. I know that there's some kind of there's specifically a specific lane for commuter lanes or motorcycles in the Philippines only, right? In Manila
Yeah.
specifically.
There's even
Now,
bike lanes. Yeah, bicycle lane.
people just need to abide by it. But the problem there is the structure itself. There's not enough lanes and whatnot. It still makes it smaller. Plus the additional constructions on the sides or the vendors. It doesn't make it easy.
The answer: work from home.
What are the odds of that, of somebody getting that option in the Philippines? Really,
And then
it's a lot harder.
the internet is like flaky. So like,
Right.
no, now you have to work at the office.
See, I mean, how? I mean, I actually do remember you what you just mentioned about the whole what is that coding, the number coding for
Mm,
your
mm, mm,
vehicles? Okay, because it's been around forever. I do remember this now. Actually, um, when I visited in 2010, I think, or 12, can't remember.
mm.
Um, I took some family members out to eat, and then I was like, "Oh, sorry, we were late. The taxi was taking forever." I'm like, "Taxi? Why didn't you drive?" Because I know that person had a car. It's like, "Oh, I can't drive it today."
Mm.
I'm like, okay. Then that's when she explained to me actually the whole um, coding thing for your vehicles and whatnot. And
Sorry, I
no,
got
she did not
distracted.
have extra vehicles, and you know.
Sorry, I got distracted. We're stuck in traffic now. This is what it looks like.
Yeah, I forgot to put that up there. Um, the traffic in New York City is bad. To be honest with you, it's the only city in the U.S. that I could think of that's comparable to the traffic in Manila. But now that
Mm.
I think about it, and after watching these random videos, it's not even that bad. Now I look at it in New York City as being simple. You know,
No,
um,
it's not a simple problem, and it's not just about enforcing. There's
correct,
also, from it starts from the driver's license, the vehicles, etc., etc. It's like solving a calculus problem. I'm not in the position to make suggestions on what we should be doing about it,
right, right.
but I guess it's more. I guess if we are like, why are we even talking about it? Why are we bothering? Because is it Chris Lawrence, right? Not Chris Martin. Chris Lawrence. Is it Chris Lawrence?
No, it's
That's his
Chris
last
Martin.
name. Mark.
Chris Martin.
Okay, I get confused. Okay, so Chris Martin mentioned it. It was so bad enough that he mentioned it. Speaking of Chris Martin and Coldplay concert and traffic and thanking everybody for braving the traffic and all of that, I also
Right.
wanted to acknowledge them for because I was bringing up the fact that they brought up Dilau on their
Yes, on their stage.
on stage. I wanted to say that it's so cool of them to be able to be doing that for all, because they're doing like a world tour now, right?
Correct.
And from one of the comments that I saw on one of the concert uploads
I
that I
lost
saw,
you.
that they're
Oh.
actually they're doing that for all the local artists that they're visiting.
Mm.
So there's like one or two artists that they put up on stage on the 1 or 2 days that they're on that venue. So they brought up a couple of other bands also here,
Oh,
uh,
nice, nice.
aside from Dilau, which we're proud of because they're from Baguio.
Hmm.
Um, but they brought up a couple of bands also. So I think it's really cool of them to share the stage with local artists
Mm, mm, mm.
when when they're since they're doing that world tour now.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah.
so funny how it made world news. How on the 19th and the 20th of January, a couple of days ago, Coldplay, like you said, was doing their world tour and had their leg on the Philippines. And the sheer craziness of the experience that they had with traffic and
Mm,
how they got stuck on it. They actually wrote that song, um, and sang it in the concert venue itself.
mm,
It
mm.
caught national attention. It's crazy. It's kind of funny, but because they were like saying there was that interview that I read. I wanted to show the clip, but you know what? It's gonna mess with the copyright again, unfortunately, just because it's Coldplay. This is the flip side with Jay and Noel.